habits for cultivating wisdom online. One, you said go with a purpose, don't just surf. Two, quality over quantity. Three, slow down. Four, diversify your exposure. And five, share what's good. And you said don't abandon, redeem.
Yeah.
So elaborate on these, because I think people are saying, okay, I got all this stuff. I know that we need to be more discerning, but some people just need a guide, a practice, if you will. What are the steps of this performative counter liturgy that I am trying to enact in my life? Okay, so let's talk about that for a moment. 5 habits for cultivating wisdom online. Go with a purpose, don't just surf. Talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, that goes back to what we were just talking about with the social algorithm and the way that like the social media companies are really counting on us being passive consumers. Like they want to be the guides of our media experience. They are more than happy to recommend watch this next or click on this next, because that they know that will keep us hooked and keep us on the platform. So when we're passive in our time on the internet, it's just a bad thing because you're totally at the mercy of the algorithm. You're literally just letting yourself be led down whatever path of content they want you to go down. And this is the mode, the passive mode is where we end up, we go online for one thing and we end up staying online for 2 hours. And by the end of it, we're like, how did I get here? Like, how did I wind up on this website? Like, I don't know. Like we've all had those moments of like,
why am I watching squirrels skiing?
Why am I watching squirrels skiing? Oh man, YouTube is the rabbit hole for sure.
It is, but I remember walking into my living room and my brother-in-law and my son, and that's what they're watching on YouTube. And I went, how in the world did you get to this place?
Yeah. And I don't want to knock squirrel skiing videos because there is a place for leisure and beauty in your wisdom pyramid.
I don't know if those are leisure or wisdom.
So I don't want to fully knock those, but yeah, I mean, the passive versus intentional thing is probably like the biggest piece of advice I would give in terms of wisdom online. It's just like, go with a plan. Go, if you're going to use the internet, like have 1 or 2 or 3 specific things you want to do. Like, I need to buy this on Amazon. I need to go read, that article on the New York Times that I've been meaning to read. I need to go, whatever, write an email, but then like go off. Like the minute you're done with those things, like don't just kind of linger and like passively click on whatever is being fed to you by your feed. Just go off and go for a walk or, read a book, a physical book. So yeah, that's that one. The second one, what was the second piece of advice?
Second one was quality over quantity.
Yeah, quality over quantity. Yeah, I mean, this is a pretty straightforward one. Just in a world of limitless quantity of things you could fill your soul with, just focus on the best. Like, try to, be okay with missing out. That's one thing I say a few times in the book. Is like, we live in this FOMO world of fear of missing out. Like, it's okay to miss out, and it's actually better for your soul and for your wisdom to miss out on the lion's share of what's going on Twitter on any given day. Like, I love going on a vacation and unplugging from social media and like gleefully missing out and being totally ignorant of everything that happened on Twitter, whatever, while I was gone. And the thing is, like, the crises that seem so important on social media in the moment, the next week everyone forgets about it anyway. So you can go to Florida on vacation like I did last week and be ignorant of all these things that were so important, quote unquote important, to the people who were debating them. But by the time you get back, it's all over and everyone's moved on. So that's why like the like quality is important. Like, focus on like, what are the articles or videos that like 2 months later people are still sharing? Like, don't read 10 hot takes in your media, your daily media diet, like read like one really high quality cold take that was written 2 months after a headline, a news event. And listen to the advice of like trusted people. That's another way you can kind of filter through in terms of the quality versus quantity. There's a few people on my social media feeds who I will almost always like pay attention to what they share. So find those people, find like the consistently quality recommendation people, and let them kind of guide you through the glut, so to speak.
Third, slow down.
Yeah, I mean, this is just a principle of wisdom in every part of life, right? Like we go too fast for our own good, in how we think and how we talk. And so many of us have gotten into trouble with like social media being being quick to speak instead of being slow to speak.
Yeah.
And so slowing down is good for your wisdom. And so in the way that you're processing information, processing the news, just slow down, like read the cold takes and not just the hot takes.
4, diversify your exposure.
The research is actually kind of mixed on this. Like you don't want to over diversify your social media feed to the point where you're only listening to counter, voices on the other side of you. That research is showing that actually makes you more partisan, to be kind of constantly confronted with the other side's most extreme voices. But I do think in moderation, having kind of a diversity of voices that are feeding you ideas and perspectives, and this goes beyond social media and the internet. It's also a good principle for like books, the books that you read. Don't just read books written by people just like you. In my case, like I shouldn't only read books written by white Protestant American men. Like I'm very intentional about trying to read books by women and non-Christians and people from other parts of the world. And I think that's really good for our wisdom to be, just to be giving our ears and our attention to perspectives that are different from us and that bring kind of a different ideas to the table. And it's not to say that we have to agree with all of it. You don't have to give your attention to someone's counterpoint or differing view and nod along with all of it. That would be bad. But just the practice of being exposed to and being confronted with and having to think through other arguments and other perspectives, I think is only a good thing for your wisdom.